In recent years, there has been a clear trend of people withdrawing from churches as a result of negative experiences within the church.
Churches have individuals within who have challenges and are unable to express them. Instead of they having the opportunity to meet persons, to have interactions, they assume that because a particular individual in the church caused the hurt, they feel it is better for them to withdraw, keep it in themselves, and then move on. They try to make the whole system look as if it's been swept under the carpet, but they go to bed and they don't sleep on it because continually they think about it.
Understanding the phenomenon of people leaving the church due to hurt and its ramifications for both people and the church is very crucial.
The issue of church hurt is something that we cannot deny. But unfortunately, we seem to be ignoring it or pretending that it does not exist. Maybe because we think that there should be a good name, to cover up the church in respect to what the church stands for. However, it is important for us to realize that church hurt is real.
Church hurt takes account of a variety of grievances, including interpersonal issues, problems with leadership, and perceived injustices.
Hurt simply means an offense. When somebody provokes you or offends you, or when someone does something you don't like, your heart doesn't accept it, your mind doesn't accept it, and if you are not careful, you retaliate.
Church hurts are real and they are practical. We don't talk about it, and it is drawing out a lot of people from the settings of the church. When you take it from departmental basis, you get people within a particular department having issues with either the departmental head or a colleague within the department. Some of these issues, when you think about it, may look petty, but are taken seriously.
This particular church I'm talking about, I played the role of children's leader. When you talk about children's ministry, I was the leader for about 4 years, if not 4 years plus. And I also played the role of local secretary for the women's ministry for also 4 years. I also played the role of the zonal women's secretary for, I think, 2 years plus, if not 3 years. And there was a lot of work we had to do. And that time I was the country director for my NGO in East Legon. So it was quite hectic. That time as well, my husband wasn't in Accra. He was working outside Accra in Takoradi. So he comes over the weekend. So these things that I'm talking about, you can imagine the amount of pressure that was on me. But hey, I had to mix and combine all of them to do it. And I was coming from the backdrop that I am working for God. With all these things and my perspective and my idea that all that I'm doing is for God, you see, when it comes to a point that as a human being, you can't be perfect. Things could go wrong. So you would expect that when things go wrong, not in your eyes, but in other people's eyes, and we calling ourselves church members, Christians, people of God, You would expect that when something happens, your fellow Christian, your sister, your brother would approach you and ask you, this and this is what I heard. This and this is what I've been told you did. Did you do it? Even ask for your side so that you clarify it. You give your side of the story so that they would even understand. No. I started hearing stuffs going on. I started hearing discussions going on. Accusations flying here and there. Meanwhile, I did not say anything. You see, people intentionally come to you and want to discuss that thing with you and ask for your side. So when they say it, I said, I have done my part. If they have to change for other people to come and also help, I don't have a problem. By the time I realized, they are even saying to the extent, they say, Mami Difo is even saying that she has heard that I am saying that she is the reason why they took us off. Meanwhile, I have not discussed with anybody. Meanwhile, I have not spoken to anybody. Meanwhile, I have not said anything. And what hurt me most is, you are the reason why I joined this church. And you were calling me my obroni, me broni. When people started telling you things about me, now when you see me cry now, then you are frowning. When I even want to talk to you, cry, your body language is something else. So I decided to keep my distance. These things were getting to my husband. So he started suggesting that if these are the things that they are doing, then he doesn't want to go to that church again. Because he realized I'm being paid. And he saw the sacrifice I was putting into it.
I decided to join a church in Accra at La Paz. I was in that church for 22 years. I got married there, had my 4 children there. My children used to perform this Sunday school. Anything they want to do, the children will perform. I've been in church. I read the Bible for Bishop before he preached. When I was in the church, we decided to relocate. So now we decided to be in Dodowa district. For over 5 years now, my bishop never called me to find out whether I am alive or not.
I was born into the African tradition religion, where we used to visit shrines. So as growing up, we decided to move from one religion to the other based on the experiences we have. Okay, so I swapped religion at the age of, if I can remember, 11 years. Actually, my brother was introduced into a church, so we decided to join together so that we attend. So I changed from the African tradition religion and I joined the church. I joined my brother's church actually. Things were going on very well. But the experience I had in that church, I had a little education where I can read the Bible by myself and understand. I can pray. Nobody need to teach me how to pray because the Bible stated it clear. The Lord's Prayer at least is a form of prayers. But going to the church, I was growing up as an individual who was not involved in certain social vices, just like smoking, drinking alcohol, humanizing. I was not engaged in all those things. So actually, I will not call myself perfect, but I realized that I was doing everything that society deemed it fit. So I joined the churches just for certain, not because of certain physical benefits, but I'll put it, should I say, emotional benefits, where if I'm down, I'm expecting a brother or a sister in the church to keep me up, just to keep my spirit up, because I was not born in a house where everything is available. So sometimes we go through situations where we want somebody to talk to. So that was the main reason why I joined the church. But unfortunately, I met the opposite.
The manifestation of church hurts are myriad, each leaving its mark on the hearts and minds of those affected.
So there was a time I went to the very first church where I couldn't get what I wanted when I went for a service. I got there, actually I was on a bicycle. I wasn't appropriately dressed. So when I got there a little bit late, when church has closed, I wanted to find out, since I was new in the environment or new in that area, I wanted to find out if what are the schedules in terms of church activities over there. So fortunately, I met one brother who introduced himself as one of the leaders of the church. But when I got there, he was talking to two ladies. So I asked him to excuse so that I can talk to him one-on-one. So he told me to hold on by his coming. So I stood behind and waiting for him, but he was still talking to the ladies. The ladies were actually members of the church. So I realized that it is something that they have closed from church and then they are having their personal discussion. So I was thinking that since I'm new to them, I'm expecting him to approach me first because you don't know where I'm coming from. I just wanted to get information. I stood there for more than 50 minutes. This brother never minded to come to me to find out the reason why I asked him to see me. So the ladies even called his attention. Oh, brother, the young man is still standing there. Only for him to pass the comment that, oh, don't mind him. But he wants money from me. Looking at the way he has dressed and he's holding the bicycle. So I was like, wow. Yeah, so you have already concluded without even questioning what I'm about to. Yeah. So from there, I just took my ride off. I just rode away, and then I was like, I vow never to step because they said to be beaten once. So there is once beaten, twice shy.
During these COVID issues, and they were preaching, and I decided to send a donation. It was when the Reverend Minister got to know that Lina is also existed. So he came back, he called me, and then we decided to meet. And there I told them my problem, that since I left the church about 5 years ago, none of you was able to call. The only call I had from a pastor was school fees. He wants to pay a school fees, and if I can help. And when I was in the church, I helped a lot. I helped the pastor because my mother used to help pastors. You buy things and go and give to pastor, and I realized there is blessing in that. So me too, when I am there, I decided to, when I get more money, I'll call this pastor, send the money to the pastor, do everything as a Christian. The way I understand the Bible is to give. So I give a lot. But those pastors, none of them ever ask of me. And my children too, because of that, they decided not to go to the church again.
Experiencing victimization and rejection can result in deep-seated emotions of isolation and worthlessness.
The diabolical thing, church, we are doing church. Under the cross of Jesus, people are thinking evil of other people. When you have your heart as clean and as clear, people are wanting to do things that will hurt you under the cross.
Depression and anxiety become unwelcome companions, their weight crushing the spirit.
From an outside point of view, you enter into a church and you get to see that a lot of seats are empty. You ask yourself questions. How come that all these seats are empty? Are there no people who used to occupy them? Then you get to know that when A came to church, the usher didn't smile to receive the person. And then when the person decided to sit at a particular place, the usher spoke angrily. Do not sit here. You're supposed to sit here. And because in the mind of the person, she has come to a place where there should be sanity, they ask questions. I thought that when I get to the church, I am going to have freedom, peace of mind. Look at what is happening. Somebody may tap and say, okay, just hold on. Let us talk to this person and find out. In the course, get to realize that there are settings within the character of the hierarchy of the church that doesn't look at what people are going through.
So the following Sunday, I was still searching for God, actually. Yeah. So I decided to go to a different church too, which is within the Dansoman area there. So I went there by myself with the mentality that I want to join this organization. So I got there early in the morning, around 7 o'clock. So I was even expecting that there will actually be ushers at the entrance who easily identify new comers, something of that nature. Yeah. But to my disappointment or to myself, there was nothing of that sort. Okay, so I was there and the church service started. All right, okay, so I think they were having 2 services. After the first service, I saw an usher and asked him, "Oh, I'm a new guy here." So I was even expecting them to. I'm a new guy here, so how do I join the church? He told me he's coming. So he left me seated. So I was sitting over there. I sat down for some time. The usher never came. So I got a chance to ask another woman that, "Oh, how do I join your church?" I was like, "Oh, that's for this church. We don't join like that too." So from there, life became somehow. I started seeing religion in a very different perspective altogether.
Because of the issues at the background, I don't even want to go to church anymore. I decided to work hard. When I die one day, if it's the pastor who will bury me, and I believe if I get the money, my children one day can go and hire Spinny and those things, pastors to come and preach at my funeral. So I decided to work harder, not to go to church anymore, wasting my time paying harvest. When it's time for harvest, even my husband, sometimes I have to call my husband to give me money to go and give to this church that, "Oh, this is harvest. Since you are not going to the church, pay something. I'll take the money, go and give to them." Me, myself, when they say harvest, every day contribution, I make sure I do my part. But none of them ever think. And I realized one thing about my church is that when they get new people who have the money, they ignore the old ones. And when you want to practice God, like they don't like you.
When we have issues, we take it to Christ in church. Now, when you get church issues, who are you bringing it to? Am I making sense here? We have issues from the house, from outside the church. We are supposed to go and offload them inside the church. But when you get wahala in church, who are you bringing the wahala to? That trouble, who are you taking it to? Should we get wahala in church and bring it outside? How do we expect to get solutions from outside the church? Can you believe there's one girl from the prophetess house? I didn't know she was lurking around. And I don't know what she heard. She went straight and told Mami D4 that I have called my Sunday school teachers. And I have told them that I know it is Mami D4 who is behind them relieving us of our duty. And I am blaming her, and this is what I've told the teachers. I've told the teachers that I am even leaving the church, so they can also leave. And wherever they want to serve God, they can serve God also there. So they should all go and serve God wherever they want to serve. This woman could not even give me the benefit of the doubt to even call me and ask me, "My daughter, this is what I heard. Is that true? Did you say it? Did you not say it? Is it correct? Did it happen?" By the time I realized, they went for women's meeting, and Mami D4 went to stand in front of everybody, telling them Now there's the accusations flying around. These are the things that people are accusing her of. Now the first thing they said, she was behind them taking off women's ministry executives. Now the same person is accusing her again of relieving Sunday school teachers of their post. And meanwhile, she knows nothing about, which I also don't even know what you are talking about, because I am the only person, when we do union, mathematics, when we do union between sets, I am the only common factor. I was with children, I was with women. So if you say that, automatically it's me. That I am accusing her and somebody came to tell her that this is what I said. So one lady was there and she said, no. I remember when we closed, when they were having the meeting, I was at the back, I was seated there. All that they said I heard. They even wanted to ask this woman a question. She didn't answer anybody. All she said is they should go and ask the Holy Spirit. I remember what this woman said. But who was she to raise her hand and talk in my defense? Because this is the prophetess talking. How can she defend me when she is before the people and castigating? Somebody I took as my mother. I looked up to this woman. When I lost my job, I went to her. I was even doing dry fasting. That was the time I saw the Lord. That was when I saw the Lord. The Lord showed himself to me. He said, look, my daughter, my grace is sufficient unto you. 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 19. This woman couldn't even call me to ask me, why? My daughter, is it true? Did you say it? Why did you say it? And let me even give my side, maybe this and that, or I do not even say it. Imagine the women's ministry, how women we are. They started flying the stories around. I don't respect. I am disrespectful. My disrespect, I've taken it to Mommy D4. And meanwhile, what you are saying, I know nothing about it. I know nothing. I told my husband said, that's the last straw. Enough is enough. Leave their church for them. Let them do their MBA, people. Leave them. Let them do their thing. We have so many other branches around us. Let us go. Let us start afresh.
Me, I decided not to be to worship, go to church. I worship in my house. One time my house got burnt and my car got burnt. And I went to the church and I told one of my pastors that, oh, this is what happened to me. The only thing he said is, oh, God will make a way. You get another one. But what happened? Oh, so are you okay? Those things, nothing of that. And I realized if I should go to church, if it's shrine, they will ask of me. I remembered my uncle. My uncle was a shrine man. When you don't go to the shrine, they will send a messenger to come and find out why you do not go. If it's just ordinary, maybe nothing is happening to you and you decided not to go to church, to come to the shrine. What they do is that they will find you. But if something is happening to you, they make sure they attend to you and you'll be healed. If it's sickness, you'll be fine. But the church is not like that.
In the darkest moments, thoughts of suicide may whisper their seductive lies because of the burden of handling a cyclone of difficult to process emotions.
In some cases, it's very bad. Nobody thinks about you. Nobody cares about you. Whatever happens to you, no.
When you are in the church with, let's say, a childless couple what is there in the church to take care of a childless couple. You know, we present having a child as such a blessing, and sometimes the way we talk about it, we are not even sensitive to people who may be in the church who do not have children. If they are in the church and they don't have children, what is the church doing to help these people, practically help them to handle their situation? Because it's a reality. We have them in our churches. We cannot explain everything, but it's not everybody who is in the church who may have a child. We don't know why. We may do all the things, we may do all the prayer, all the medical stuff, and sometimes it's still not working. What is the church doing for such people? Are we looking at them? Are we concerned about their life?
When you take it from departmental basis, you get people within a particular department having issues with either the departmental head or a colleague within the department. Some of these issues, when you think about it, may look petty, but are taken seriously. For instance, somebody decides that he wants a leadership role, and because of that leadership role, the person decides to pick up a quarrel with the leader. These are real happenings. When the hierarchy of the church gets to know about this, they should immediately move in to resolve. But it is swept under the carpet because the assumption is that it will die off by itself. These things gradually form basis for people to withdraw their activeness within the church. The person starts by avoiding, the person continues by not even coming to church, and the third time, the person walks out of the church. So, church health has a gradual process that it has aligned itself with to draw people out of the church.
Victims feel trapped in a whirlwind of betrayal, rage, grief, and bewilderment.
They are not interested in whatsoever we go through. The reason why I told you earlier that I was, if like, I want to work hard so that I can bury myself alive before I die. Me like this, if you want to change me, it will take time because I am really hurt. I realize there is no value going to church. If it's the Bible, I will read. So if I should follow somebody to interpret Bible for me, then I'll Google the interpretation and listen to it. Because there is no value going to church. There is nothing positive in church. There is nothing positive in church. If you don't have money, you can't go to church.
Even if I was a criminal, I don't think I would have been treated this way. I don't think so. It was because of this woman that I joined this church. Now I've become a very bad person to her for nothing wrong that I have done to her. But if this is how I am being treated, so be it.
Men of God should be very careful. Sometimes the kind of messages preached in the pulpit, the kind of relationship built with members, and the members too, the kind of relationship we build among ourselves, hitting, stepping on wrong toes at different times, bring a lot of problems in the church. People are forced to keep quiet or forced to leave without any solution. I would say that men of God should be very careful with that. For that one, especially in Ghana, it's getting too rampant. Insulting each other and all those things. It doesn't call for safety in the church.
There are settings within the character of the hierarchy of the church that doesn't look at what people are going through. Church heads start from the most minute part, and it aggravates. And by the time you get to know, the person has walked out of the church.
Perceptions of autocratic leadership, a lack of transparency, and instances of clergy abuse of power may all undermine confidence and faith in the church. Discrimination, favoritism, or unfair treatment among others, may create significant mental distress and disappointment.
These are affecting the churches. And as if it is only members who are hurt, that's not the case. We have ministers, servants, we have leadership battling for power, breaking out because of hate. Because the assumption is that if I don't align with this particular person, I can be on my own. So church hate has also contributed to a lot of churches springing up all around.
People leaving the church due to church hurt is a difficult and very personal choice. But when people feel deceived or let down by their fellow congregants or religious leaders, it becomes difficult to reconcile their church and their experiences, resulting in a loss of confidence in the church.
Leadership itself contributes a lot of things that make people feel hurt. We have gotten to an era where the church looks at qualification for leadership through who has enough money. The basic qualification is thrown about, is thrown off. And the one who has the money, whether the person is spiritually gifted or not, is moved from among the congregants to a leadership role. Assuming it's a good idea, will the person be trained? It is left unattended to. The character the person held is what the person uses as a leader. And the person feels that I have the right because I have the money. I contribute towards the keeping of the church. So I can tell you anything at all at any point in time. Meanwhile, when the elevation was done, the person who has the gifts, who hasn't got the funding, and feels that it is time for him or her to be elevated, picks up heads. So because I don't have money, I'm not considered the leader of the church. Then let me try and move to where I would also be valued. So money has contributed a lot. The standards we use in even attending church, the way we flaunt ourselves within the confines of the church, creates the environment for a lot of people who don't have access to such wealth to feel deprived of the blessings of God.
As a result, churches face major issues when people leave due to church hurt, such as a loss of fellowship, declining congregational resources, and reputational damage.
The church being a ecclesia of people, a community of people, you see that they all have their differences, they came with their characters, everyone came with his load, her issues, resolved issues and unresolved issues. So for you to have all these people together, possibly, let me say, under one roof, it becomes difficult for you to say that there won't be hurt. There is hurt, actually, there's church hurt. No one can deny it. But the issue also is the level to which is happening, the rate to which is happening, because if you look at it this day, you see that the rate is rather increasing, which may have several attributes why it is happening that way. And also, people seem not to talk about it. But of a reality, it is a truth. It's happening. People are being hurt here and there in church. Some are talking, some are not talking. Some are leaving the church, some also backslide. Some have even, because of it, decided not to even identify with church anymore.
To address these difficulties, the church must commit to creating a culture of openness, accountability, and compassion, and be ready to engage in meaningful discussion and reconciliation with those affected.
Ministers should understand their calling. We should understand our calling. We are supposed to prepare people for the kingdom of God. We are supposed to bring in people into the house of God. Ours is not to scatter people. Ours is not to drive people away from the Lord. And so we need to be conscious of our role and our calling, what we are supposed to do. And we should know that we don't own the people. These are the people of God. We should treat them well, because we will be held accountable for whatever we do. So we shouldn't be abusive to people as ministers of the gospel, because that's not what we are called to do. We are called to help people.
We are humans. Anybody can be offended. And another problem we have is the mentality of the church members. I have a right syndrome. You have a right, but how are you going about the right you have? You see, because their case will be louder to the world the moment they say church is hurting me. And nobody takes time also to find out what that led to the hurt.
Is it not because of how the church has painted that kind of picture to the members? This is what we stand for. So we boost their expectation, yet our levels of meeting their expectation is always falling short. Is that not that the church has prayed for that or created a wrong impression?
Dr. Morgan, what you said is absolute. In the sense that even from the first day members or people step into the church, it has been the wrong message that is sent from the pulpit. Come to the Lord, everything will be okay. That's a wrong message. As a matter of fact, when you even come to Jesus, that may even be when your trouble will start. Because sometimes what will lead to that which you so much need is in the church. But the enemy also, the devil also will want to fight you to create a situation where you will not have patience for that thing to mature. And some pastors too, that's where we are also all in error. Telling the people everything is fine. You come to the church, you have your child. You come to the church, you'll be married. You come to the church, you'll have breakthrough. That should not be our message. We should be able to have a proper balance where we let the person know. Even Jesus, before he did the miracle of healing that woman's daughter, made it specific. He said, we do not give the children's bread to dogs. You see, so there must be a system. There must be where we give the people the correct message to let them know that, fine, the church is a place of healing and transformation, but it doesn't happen overnight.
The occurrence of individuals leaving churches owing to church hurt emphasizes the need for better empathy, understanding, and healing within the church.
Whosoever that is hurt needs to also know how to handle it. The first thing is that know that what is binding us is the love of God. And you are hurt, all right. So sorry about that. But then you should also be careful how you go about your hurt, because even Jesus was offended. You see, and you know that in the body of Christ is a family, is a community of people. And if you insist on having your right or your pound of flesh, you will not only be hurting others, you will end up also destroying what you have also built.
By recognizing and resolving the root causes of pain and disillusionment, churches should seek to create settings that promote spiritual development, establish true community, and respect the ideals of love, forgiveness, and grace.
Ministers have to have a lot of emotional intelligence to know how to talk. They should show the fruit of the Spirit and be a blessing to God's people rather than create problems. Sometimes there may be misunderstanding. People's understanding of what a minister should be, his role and all that may be skewed or maybe warped in a way, so that it's not necessarily the problem of the minister. It's just the way people think the minister should behave, But you as a minister should be conscious of the fact that you should do your best. To send people to heaven.
There's nothing better than a church where you see a larger number of people having good relationship among themselves. And it's helps the church to grow.